One of our most basic intuitions is to explore, to see something new, something that has not been seen by anyone. In a time of constant growth and expansion, it has become almost impossible to do this. Our entire world has been seen, surveyed, and mapped out. This is why a new movement known as urban exploring is developing all over the world. Urban exploring allows people to experience places that are not unknown to the world, just forgotten by most. Urban exploring is the examination of the normally unseen or off-limits parts of urban areas, such as storm drains or abandoned warehouses. In Colorado, two young men take this hobby one step further by also exploring abandoned homes on the plains of Colorado, along with storm drains and former factories.
Hello, I'm David Gilbert. I'm 21 years old, student at Colorado State University. I like to explore storm drains because it's a really great way to see a part of the city that nobody normally sees. Same thing with abandoned plains homes because they're something that barely anyone knows exists. Urban exploring to me it's part art, part hobby, of finding places that people don't normally see, of being in places people don't normally go. And they can be anything from active hotels, boiler rooms, to abandoned places like factories, to what I do, which is drains, which we chose drains. We basically mostly do drains because they're a lot of times the least risk of getting caught, and there's a lot of them pretty much anywhere you go.
My name's Joe Hicks. I like to do urban exploration. I explore mostly sewers, although I prefer to do abandoned buildings. Urban exploring to me is more of a hobby than anything else. There's a lot of people out there who kind of would define it as an art or some sort of higher class sort of meaningful thing than it is to me. For me, it's just sort of like going into places that I just simply think are really interesting. There's definitely a good amount of history behind locations, but for the most part, when it boils right down to it, it's more of just I think it's a fun time. But to me, really what's interesting about the locations is that it's not being preserved, and human interactions with these locations and the kind of destruction and decay over time.
David Gilbert and Joe Hicks run a website called Denver Drainers. They are experts on exploring storm drains in Denver. David recently brought his girlfriend on her first draining excursion. She was apprehensive to participate at first.
I don't know, I'm kind of nervous to do urban exploring just because it's against the law, and I don't know, it looks kind of scary just going through the drain, but it looks really fun too. Sometimes whenever he tells me he's going out urban exploring, I just kind of get scared that he might get arrested when he goes, or that he'll fall and get hurt and no one can help him or something. And so I get kind of nervous, but I know he's having fun doing it. Dave loves urban exploration. It's one of his favorite things to do. He's been trying to get me to do it since we first started dating. So I'm not sure what he likes about it. I think he just likes just going through it and it being away from civilization and stuff, and just being part of the city but not part of the city. So I think he likes the isolation of it a lot.
Draining could not satisfy their curiosity forever, and the pair found themselves venturing further and further away from Denver. The pair eventually would regularly search the plains of eastern Colorado for abandoned homes. One excursion led them to the small town of Kit Carson, where they discovered an old hotel that had been out of commission for over 60 years. The hotel had not been touched since 1949. The floor was covered with debris, including old newspapers and ceiling tiles.
Well, we talked to a guy outside who said that apparently his wife's grandma owned this hotel when it was still operating, and it was for railroad workers. And I think it's just really interesting because it just really represents a very different time in American history, and a world from which we're separated, but at the same time not by very much. And it's something I really like about the West too, which is that you can really just be in the place where history took place. There's no reenactors, there's no one in costume, there's no one acting like it's 1888. You're just in the same room at the same bed where these railroad workers slept. There's really very little to separate you.
David and Joe are fans of photography and bring their cameras with them on all their trips. This is common amongst most urban explorers. There's a desire to capture some of the most dramatic settings when exploring. David and Joe continue to explore and document their discoveries. Their curiosity will probably never be satisfied. Until they have seen everything, they will continue to explore, dream, and discover.
Such is the way of the world, you can never know just what